In the sun-baked sprawl of Scottsdale's whispering palms, where every mailbox matched and every blade of grass knew its place, Victoria Langford decided my front yard was her personal kingdom. She didn't knock, didn't text, didn't even pretend to smile. She just power-walked straight across my Bermuda in those sensible beige flats, badge swinging like a sheriff's star, and lunged for the hand-painted baby shower sign my wife Mia had poured her heart into after 3 heartbreaking years of trying to keep this pregnancy. I stepped between her and that sign before her manicured nails could touch the wood. "Morning, Victoria. Something I can help you with." My voice stayed low, almost friendly, the way you talk to a coiled rattlesnake so it doesn't strike first. She straightened, lips pursed like she'd tasted bad kombucha. Section 14, Temporary Installations. "That eyesore comes down immediately, Mr. Caldwell. We can't have the neighborhood looking cluttered." Behind her, 3 neighbors on their evening stroll slowed to Rubberneck, phones half raised. Mia stood frozen on the porch, one hand cradling her bump, the other gripping the railing so hard her knuckles went white. I tilted my head, letting the desert breeze carry my words nice and clear. Funny thing about Section 14, last revision in 2022 specifically exempts displays under 48 hours for family events. You know, baby showers, birthdays, celebrations of life. You signed off on that revision yourself, right? Victoria's smirk faltered for half a second, just long enough for the neighbors to lean in. She recovered fast, jabbing a finger like it was loaded. "Rules evolve, Ryan. Community standards don't wait for your little party." She spun on her heel, grass staining those perfect flats, and marched off like she'd won. 6 minutes later my phone buzzed. Mass email from the HOA board, subject line screaming in all caps. "Immediate policy update. Effective immediately, every temporary display, sign, flag, or personal expression visible from any common area now required 48-hour advance written approval. No exceptions. Fines start at $250. Victoria's digital signature sat right at the bottom like a victory stamp. I read it twice, then looked back at Mia's sign, those careful pastel letters spelling, "Welcome Baby Caldwell," with little handprints she'd pressed when the doctor finally said the heartbeat was strong. The sign wasn't clutter. It was hope we'd almost lost. That night I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop open to the HOA governing docs, the ones most people never bother to read past page 2. Structural engineering teaches you to spot cracks before the building falls. Victoria had left plenty. Amendments dated on weekends when no board meeting happened. Fines issued without recorded votes. And right there on the community Facebook page, her own Welcome to Whispering Palms banner, 10 feet wide, flapping proudly over her driveway like a thrown banner. No approval request on file. Ever. I smiled for the first time all day. The next morning I ran into Brian, the treasurer, at the community mailbox cluster. He was sweating more than the 105-degree heat justified. "Heard about the new rule," I said casually, flipping through junk mail. Brian's eyes darted left and right. "Victoria said it was necessary after certain residents pushed boundaries." I nodded like I agreed. Boundaries are important. Speaking of which, that fountain she had installed by the Greenbelt last month, did the board vote on the permits? Because my inspection software says no city paperwork exists. Brian swallowed so hard his Adam's apple did a dance. "She said it was beautification emergency." I patted his shoulder. "Emergency beautification. Love that. Almost as creative as calling a baby shower an eyesore." Word travels fast in a place where everyone pretends they're not watching. Jamal from 3 doors down caught me at the dog park that evening, leash wrapped tight around his fist. "My kid's sidewalk chalk got cited yesterday. $50. 4 hopscotch." He glanced over his shoulder like Victoria might materialize from a cactus. "She's losing it, man. But nobody wants to be the one who fights back." I crouched to scratch his golden retriever behind the ears. "Nobody has to fight. Sometimes you just hold up a mirror and let them see the clown staring back." By the weekend the pressure was everywhere. Victoria's new rule had already netted her 4 more fines, garden flags, a birthday balloon arch, even a proud grandparent's yard sign. Meanwhile her own banner still flapped proudly, now joined by a 6-foot community values metal cutout she'd bolted to the common area fence without a single permit. I photographed everything, time-stamped, cross-referenced against state statutes. Engineers don't yell. We measure. Monday night the emergency board meeting packed the clubhouse like it was Black Friday at Costco. Victoria sat at the head table in a fresh polo, hair sprayed into submission, smiling that tight smile that never reached her eyes. "Order, please. We're here to discuss enforcement of our updated standards for the good of property values." Murmurs rippled. I waited until she called for new business, then stood. The room went graveyard quiet. "Victoria, quick question," I said, voice carrying like it does when I'm on a job site. "Your new rule, no unapproved displays visible from common areas. Does that apply to everyone? Or just the ones having babies?" She blinked once, slow. "Of course it applies equally, Mr. Caldwell. That's the beauty of community standards." I pulled up the photo on my phone, turned the screen so the whole room could see her 10-foot banner glowing under the streetlights. "Funny, because this beauty has been up for 3 months with 0 approval paperwork. And that fountain you poured last month? No permit, no inspection, and the grading slopes straight toward Mrs. Alvarez's patio. One good monsoon, and we're all swimming in liability." Gasps. Phones came out. Victoria's face went the color of spoiled milk. "That's different. That's beautification for the whole neighborhood." Jamal stood up. "So he's celebrating a baby." Brian cleared his throat, voice cracking like cheap concrete. "Victoria, the treasurer records show no vote on any of those projects. Or the new rule, actually." Victoria's head snapped toward him. "You're out of line, Brian." He looked at his hands, then back at her, and for the first time in years his shoulders squared. "No, ma'am. You are." The room exploded. Residents who'd been fined for holiday lights, for chalk, for one single political flag last election, all of them started talking at once. Victoria tried to bang her gavel, but the sound got swallowed. I kept my voice calm, the way you talk when a beam is about to give. "I already forwarded everything to the city building department this morning. Safety concern, not personal. They're sending inspectors tomorrow, including to your banner and your fountain, Victoria. Turns out the rules you wrote actually do apply to you." She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again like a fish on dry land. The badge on her chest suddenly looked ridiculous, like a child playing dress-up in her mother's clothes. By Wednesday the city had issued stop-work orders, slapped liens on the unpermitted work, and the board, newly terrified of their own liability, voted her out 7-0. She wasn't even there to hear it. Just a terse email. "Ms. Langford has resigned for personal reasons." The banner came down that same afternoon. The fountain got ripped out by professionals wearing hard hats that read City of Scottsdale, Code Enforcement. A week later the neighborhood felt different. Kids drew hopscotch again. Flags fluttered without fear. Mia and I stood in the yard watching the sunset paint the mountains gold, while our sign still stood proud, ribbon fluttering like it was waving at the future. She leaned her head on my shoulder, hand on her belly where the baby kicked strong and steady. "You didn't even raise your voice," she whispered. I kissed her temple. "Didn't need to. Some structures collapse all by themselves when you shine a light on the cracks." Victoria's house went on the market 2 months later. Asking price suspiciously low. Last I heard she moved to a condo downtown, where the only rules are the ones the building manager enforces, and even he answers to actual city code. So tell me in the comments, was Victoria the real villain for abusing HOA power, or was the system itself the problem? Who truly deserved the karmic smackdown here? The rule breaker or the rule maker who got caught in her own web? True or false? Drop your verdict below.